All right, here we are, episode 27 of the Everday Bow Hunter podcast. Once again, my brother Dan Zemer, I'm Mike Manley, and in this week's episode of the podcast, we're going to dig in a little bit to that fall shift we're seeing with the deer. We're going to kind of talk about our goals for the season and a lot of stuff like that, what we'd like to see, and some other stuff that we're seeing right now. You know, you can take put in your kit bag and maybe look out for during the season, because there's a bunch of different things that are popping up that you might want to look at, that not necessarily deer hunting related, but still deer related.
A bear.
And a lot of bear. Yeah. Let's start off the podcast. And it's kind of not the way I usually like to start it off. It's kind of not, we usually start off with like a user question or a subscriber question or something like that. But this time I've been hearing different things. We had a video, little short that we did off a podcast. Oh my God. It's probably right in the beginning when we first started doing podcasts. It kind of got rekindled lately. And I had a couple people, basically the clip basically outlines, a guy who says he doesn't have to shoot his bow before the season. He never shoots. He says if it's 20 yards or less, why should you have to practice with your bow? And then he went on to say, and then he went on to say, hey, I wounded 2 deer this year, and I was lucky to recover the 3rd one. So that there, we said, hey, dude, you need to shoot more, obviously, But I've actually had people comment on that and say, I don't need to shoot my bow. I don't need to shoot my bow. I shot it enough in my life. I don't need to shoot it. I pick it up and go hunting every year. I kill deer every year. It's all good. Now, first off, that could happen. That could happen, And here's the thing. So when it comes to, if you don't know, if it's your first time watching the podcast or whatever, I'm a retired U.S. Army Green Beret. I was in the 5th Special Forces Group, retired out of there. Many, many years, almost 14 years of Special Forces experience. If I would have gone to my commander and I would have said, hey, dude, I shot enough. I'm good. I don't need to train anymore.
That wouldn't have worked out so well for you.
I'd have been laughed out of the unit, right? There's no such thing. No such thing. I don't care who you are. Not me. Like, I used to be able to do a 5-plate pistol test in under 4 seconds. I don't train like that anymore. I can't touch that. Yeah. I might be able to do 6 or 7, right? Yeah. But I ain't doing a 4-second 5-plate test anymore. And it's because there's 3 types of training, right? There's training to learn, there's training to maintain, and there's training to advance your skills, right? In that whatever thing you're going after. The one thing that's not in there is no training. There's no such thing. Shooting is a perishable skill. Yeah. It's a perishable skill. You cannot keep it. Now, you might be able to, shoot a lot of, pick it up really quick. You have a lot of years of shooting just like that. You can go out, shoot a couple arrows, and you're back on. You're good, right? But that's not going to last. Muscle memory, it takes thousands of shots to really build perfect muscle memory. And the less you shoot, the more you just say, I don't have to do it, the worse you're going to get over time. It's going to get, and age doesn't help you at all with that either. Yeah.
My thought process is, I mean, do you even like archery? Like it's fun to shoot a bow. It's like, to get out, you're outdoors.
It's mind-boggling that it's even an argument.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, do you even like it? I don't know.
So my only thing to say to it is, there's only 2 reasons for you to say that you don't need to shoot your bow.
One, he's probably trolling you.
1, you're extremely naive, right? Or just plain stupid. And 2, you're just lying to yourself because you're lazy. You're being lazy, and you're using it as an excuse to say, I don't have to go out and shoot. Reality is, you need to shoot, but you're too lazy to go do it. Yeah. Everybody has reasons for not shooting. Family commitments, work, all that kind of stuff. Those are reasons. Yeah. Saying you don't need to is an excuse. Yeah. I'm sorry. That's I'm gonna get off my.
No, I mean it's
my
a
high
fair
horse there.
It's a fair rant. It is what it is. It's like, okay, I get it. You're a good shot. I mean, I'm a good shot too. I mean, we all are. It's
I guarantee you, all those guys that are going down to Lancaster Archery for the championships aren't just saying, I got this. I don't need to train.
Yeah, I mean, whatever, to each its own. Do what you got to do, I guess. But I just feel like it's like, I don't know. I mean, maybe we're different. I love archery that much. I actually enjoy shooting. It's therapeutic. You you get outside, you know, even if it's just me and him shooting or me and Mustard shooting, you get out with a buddy and shoot, and you're doing what? Yeah, you know what I mean.
It's mind-boggling.
It's fun.
It's even a discussion.
Yeah,
it shouldn't even be a discussion.
Whatever.
But anyway, like I said, there's you can do what you want to do. That's your deal.
Yeah.
Just don't make excuses for it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's all I got to
agree.
say about that.
Yeah.
All right. So we're talking right now. I mean, right now, as we're recording this is the 16th of September.
Mm-hmm.
Pennsylvania is still 3 weeks away on opening. October 5th seems like forever.
Yeah, and I hate that it kind of went into the 5th of October to even open. I mean, I was kind of hoping it would have been the last weekend of September. Like sometimes they have done that.
Yeah, I don't know what the cutoff is, but I think October 5th is traditionally the latest date that we've ever had. Had it. We've had October 5th before a couple years back, and I think there's a cycle there, that goes over, year by year. Yeah. And then I don't know what that cutoff is. I'm sure somebody that hunts in Pennsylvania could tell us, but I haven't spent enough time to look at it to this comment. But,
well, it's like all depending normally, all depending, and spring gobbler is the same way. However that week falls, like if it's closer to the 30th, they'll have it on the 30th. But if it's not, if it's like, the 27th, then they'll push it to the first weekend of October, which could be the 4th or 5th, which I think that's how that worked out. Yeah.
So what we've seen though, and this is why I'm so anxious to get in the dang woods, I think October 5th is going to push us past a little bit past where that early season bump that you can get in and really take advantage of those early season coming off their summer patterns, because by October 5th, right now we've already seen that that the bucks have shifted.
Yeah.
The fall shift has already happened. Deer out of their velvet. Probably I saw deer out of their velvet probably around the 9th or 10th, which is what I actually said before.
Yeah.
On my trail camera, seeing deer without their velvet, they're out of there. So you're gonna go out there and you're gonna see those velvet rubs, as they call them, where they shedded their velvet, and those are gonna be isolated, rubs. But then you have the, then you're looking out for this time when they really start, kind of kicking into that rubbing activity that's outside of that velvet rub that really shows where they are, starting to establish that, that dominant area where they're saying, hey, the does are in this area, I'm marking my territory, and really starting to get at it.
So like right now is more of that nocturnal cycle on camera. Most of the buck I'm seeing right now is definitely at night. All the doe activity I'm getting is during the day. And of course, now I'm getting some bear activity. So, which is the same bear that he keeps seeing. And our cameras are a little maybe over, under, whatever, give or take a couple 100 feet, mile away from each other.
Yeah.
So this little guy is
probably over a mile.
I mean, this little guy can't be but 80 pounds.
Oh my God, he's a small bear.
But, he's traveling. Yeah. He's putting some miles on. Or a mile on.
I have to say that this year, the amount of bear that I've seen at
unreal
different spots that are really far away from each other. It's been a lot of bear. And I'm just hoping they're still hanging around come bear season.
Yeah, bear archery?
Bear archery, yeah. I'd really like to.
And that runs what, 2+ weeks?
I think it's almost 3 weeks, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's 3 weeks in archery season. So that would be great to be able to knock down a bear this season.
Yeah.
But that fall shift is on. A lot of the bucks, while they say nocturnal, they're spending a lot of times. We talked about that deer study from Penn State last year.
Right.
And so in the deer study, they talked about the fact that a lot of your more mature bucks, now you might see younger bucks daylighting themselves, earlier in the morning. But the more mature bucks are in their bed before daylight. Right. A lot of times.
They're bigger because they're smarter.
Yeah, especially when you're getting into that October 5th time frame for us. And they're smarter about it. The thing that I think though, Dan, with this year specifically, if we keep sucking on rain as much as we are.
Boy, I mean, it's dry, bro.
Yeah, I mean, if this continues, I think that the smart move is to hunt near water.
I couldn't agree more. Yes. The short answer to that is there's not much more to elaborate.
Yeah, because if you're not getting good water down off the mountain in those drainages and stuff and those draws, then if you're not really getting a good water source there, they're going to hang out lower. Especially the plant life is going to be in the valley where the bigger stream is there. That's going to be more water retention in the plants there and stuff too. I have a couple areas that I know and that are near water like that probably could be
what's affecting
the best place to start.
Well, like where my camera is, there's a bunch of water, and I know that the activity in that area dwindled after a rain. That we went weeks and weeks and weeks without rain. The activity dwindled, and they got hit pretty good with rain up there. And there was a couple weeks there where it had been flowing pretty good. The deer activity came back. Now here we are again, back in the cycle, into that dry cycle, and the activity just went way back down.
So I mean, now while we say that the bucks are, the mature bucks are not, are all nocturnal, the reality is they all move during the day. They feed.
Yeah.
But you talk about those guys are going to be in like a 200, 300 yard area,
right,
sticking in that spot. And if you're not in that spot, you're not going to get them. And if you go to that spot, you better hope that you didn't push them out when you went in there. If they didn't sniff you out, you wind yourself.
Yeah.
So those are all things to consider. The other thing that we talk about right now is I've already seen scraping activity. When I was up scouting weeks ago now, I already saw scrapes. So but the real active, like hormone driven scraping is going to kick in here.
Right. But they're just going to be the small scrapes. You know what? Speaking of scrapes, so I got to pull this up again. So I was just reading this article, and it's from, of course, it's not going to load. What was it? National Deer Association. It was talking about, can you tell, I wanted to say the make and model, the sex of the deer by the hoof. And, long story short, no. You got to be in the woods to see it. And that's pretty much what it alluded to. But
so it said that a lot of people are highly convinced that if they see the, what do you call it? The trailing print,
the dew claw print.
Yeah.
Right. Which, no, it's more so soil and how hard they landed, meaning if they're just walking along, there's no dew claw. Mm-hmm. If they're running from something and it's a softer soil, that's where you're going to see the dew claw. It's pretty much what the article said.
Anytime I've ever seen it, it's been like in mud or
correct,
or really soft ground. Yeah.
But what kind of caught my attention was, speaking of scrapes, and it was talking about, what is it? Prion. Prion infected, what's the word I'm looking for? Okay, so in a scrape, a buck's hoot or a deer. It didn't say.
It doesn't have to be.
It doesn't have to be a buck. It was a buck or doe, because doe, they frequent the scrapes too. They go check up on them. So, and it's not coming from. It didn't say necessarily their urine. What it was saying is the actual act of the scrape. Infected CWD infected prions are being left behind the scrape, and they are testing the scrapes for CWD. And that kind of like changed and altered the way I thought about CWD and how it's transmissible.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, wow. Like, I mean, I didn't think they were like, it could be passed by them having sex or making out or whatever it is deer do. But you know what I mean?
I'd like to see some deer making out.
It's like, is CWD an STD? No, but like, you know what I mean? Like that intrigued me. And I was like, wow, that's actually pretty interesting. Okay. So this buck has CWD, or he makes a scrape for, to attract a doe to it. And he has, a scrape line going on, and a doe, he's infected. And a doe comes and checks on that. Now she's infected. And, she passes that on to her offspring. And that's how this thing just kind of evolves. And I was like, okay, now I think I understand its transmission a little bit better. It gave me a greater understanding.
That makes more sense. That makes more sense, because it's like, well, other than, does are very social. They will sit there and lick each other and go nose to nose and stuff like that. Yeah. And while bucks will fight and rub antlers and stuff together. That's,
they do run in bachelor groups and all
they,
that.
They might share the same beds or whatever.
Right,
and I think, I always thought maybe sharing the same bed, is probably along the same lines as the scrape thing.
So I guess in testing wise, my understanding of how they tested it was they had to get into spinal fluid, brain matter, all that to be able to test for CWD. For them to be able to test it, what was left behind from a hoof scrape is pretty impressive.
Yeah.
I think they've progressed in the CWD world. My company's initials are CWC, and that's why I keep it. It's 23 years of CWC. you know what I mean? Yeah. CWD, chronic wasting disease. Yeah, they've made progress in
I hope
testing.
they make some progress on knocking this thing down.
Yeah, yeah.
Our area specifically has been, let me knock on wood, that we hunt primarily has been very lucky in that regard.
Yes.
As far as not being hit with that. I'm anxious to get down there where Andy's camp is again and hunt in an area that is, has been a CWD area. But it's
just to get it tested to see
where it's at with that. Yeah.
Because the hunting, his hunting pressure has dwindled majorly. And you know what? We've noticed that people from western part of the state are now moving to our area because we are less of a threat of CWD, where his is over, was very high.
Yeah.
And so now he doesn't have the hunting pressure, but we're seeing pretty good animals out there too.
Yeah. We're gonna go hunt there and see what we can see. And of course we're gonna follow the rules and see if we can figure out if these animals have CWD or not.
I mean, he's only an hour and a half away from our camp. Oh no, I have to take time to go get my deer meat. It's not the worst thing in the world.
Yeah.
So
yeah. So I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that'll be great. So with that, you got these deer are definitely on the move. Mm-hmm. The big thing to me is kind of locating those doe family groups and seeing where they're at.
Right.
And finding those isolated areas where they're just consistently on the same pattern.
Yeah.
Now, I think I told you over the last 3 years, I have a doe family group that's in an area that is very isolated. And almost, I don't think I've ever seen a person there hunting. And because of this, I literally can set my watch to their travels back and forth, morning and evening.
Yeah.
Right? Especially evening. Evening, it's crazy. I literally was sitting in the spot last year saying to myself, oh, I guess these doe aren't in here anymore. And then on my camera, after I left, I had a camera facing me to get me in the shot if I got a deer. And that camera caught the doe walking behind me that I never heard because I'm deaf. Yeah. Right?
Thanks, Army.
I seriously have a hearing problem. But anyway, so I'm like, oh, they are in there. And they still came through at the right time.
You know what it kind of reminds me of is the one hunting spot close to camp where we named the deer Silly Sally, Sydney, Sarah. But they were like clockwork like that too.
Yes.
That
For
family,
the longest time,
and ribeye.
For the longest time, and ribeye.
It was like all these deer with the S name, and then there was ribeye because her ribs were showing.
No, well, ribeye is because I sliced her.
Oh, that's what it was.
So unfortunately, I hate just telling this story because it's true. I just got to fess up to it. But I had a huge doe who was constantly getting knocked up in the area. Those bucks would not leave her alone. She always had little ones. But she was by herself. She was directly under my tree. And I mean directly under. And I leaned out of my stand and I drew and I took the shot. And what I didn't account for was the fact that the arrow comes out high.
Yeah.
When you're doing that. I was just so like, oh, I'm going to get her. But the arrow came out high, and instead of hitting her down through the back where I thought it was going to go, it just, the broadhead just gave her a cut on the side of her body.
Yeah.
Right. And from there on out, even though, her ribs always showed. She just had this body structure that her ribs always really showed, even though she was a big doe.
Yeah.
But when she had that slice on there, we just started calling her ribeye.
Yeah. So were you practicing shooting?
I
see where.
Oh, that there? Yeah.
You see what I did there?
Yeah. That was just me being anxious and not relaxing and thinking about what I was doing. But it was a lesson learned at the time, and now I don't. I probably won't even take that shot unless the deer's kind of facing away from me.
Right.
But anyway, Dan, the one thing we talked about a little bit was, so what are your kind of goals. What is your measure of success for this upcoming season? What do you think? I told you kind of last podcast, talked a little bit about how, or maybe it was the one before, where I said about last year I considered a successful season,
right,
even though I didn't get a buck because of what I saw and how I saw it, etc. What do you consider? What's your measure for success for this season?
A success will be harvesting an animal because of the failures that I had last year, and I need to redeem myself. I gotta. It's a clean slate right now, but I gotta get one. I don't care if I get a doe. I don't care if it's the buck of that 10 point that I've kind of been dreaming about right now.
That's a beautiful deer.
It's a beautiful deer. Even the big 8, the big symmetrical 8, I'd be happy with either one of those. That would be a total success. But I think just a regular success would just be able to harvest a doe, get some meat, because I am like deadly low on venison, and I don't like being like that.
So this is kind of off subject, but on the same subject. So when we go up to hunt every year, we have what's called Friday night steak night.
Yep.
We make deer steak every Friday night.
Yep. Tradition.
It's tradition. Well, we're slim pickings this year, and I don't think we've had years recently where 4 out of 5 guys or whatever that go to the camp, or 3 out of 4, whatever, that are up there, have gotten deer.
Yeah.
And we haven't been void of deer meat. We've been an overabundance of it. Last year that didn't quite happen. So we are all in need of some success this upcoming season.
Yeah, and I think we need to have a little bit of an early season renaissance, we'll call it, so that we can kind of continue on the Friday night steak night, because we can't go into like week 3 and not have a Friday night steak night. You know, what I mean? And I'm not going to go buy beef just to have it, but it's got to be venison, because you can't kill venison unless you're eating venison. It's got to be like running through you,
So, as far as my measure for success this year is, after last year, is to, my goal last year was the same as it is this year. Really, I want to get an 8 point, right? Minimum of an 8 point. I've let a bunch of 6s, and I had 6s. Well, of course, I can't shoot 4s or spikies, but I saw a bunch of those last year. I saw a lot of buck, and I told you I didn't see a tremendous amount of doe, which meant I was putting myself in the right positions for the most part. I want to do the same thing, just have that success that I didn't have last year. Now, that being said, I agree with you 100%. I had these new trifecta broadheads, and they're a single bevel, a right bevel broadhead, and they are beastly, 150 grain broadheads, and I really want to put these things to the test. And I, like Dan said, I'm hoping for an early season doe. Because when you get towards the rut and stuff, I don't want to
focus on that at all.
I don't want that. I want the does to be, there for the bucks to run them at that point. And I always had this thing. I joked about it before. We were talking about a doe who was shedding her coat and getting her winter coat on, that we saw on a trail camera picture, and said about her and said, "Oh, what's happening with her?" And then we realized that's what was happening. She was shedding and ready to put her winter coat on. But I said, man, she's a really nice doe, But my personal policy is that if a doe comes up on me and she has little ones with her, I won't shoot her.
I had that happen. We were up hunting State College, Toff Trees Golf Resort, and before they developed it, it was a pretty cool hunting spot. But anyway, I was in these pines, and this doe come walking in through. It was like a tunnel almost, like they'd had to come into this opening of pines. She come walking in, and she's like, kept looking back, and I was like thinking in my head, my first initial thought was, there's a buck coming. And all of a sudden I hear a lot of and she had 2 little ones with her. And, I was eyeing her up, and I was getting ready to draw. And I kept watching it. And these little ones, they're playing and bucking at each other and carrying on. And I just couldn't do it. I couldn't. Whatever. For whatever reason, it's in me that I can't do that.
Yeah, I mean, I've had the same thing. We were talking about Silly Sally and something.
Yeah.
And so we had this whole slew of deer. I'm sitting in this stand, and all these deer come basically running into this little bowl area next to a stream, and I'm about 12 foot up. I'm not high enough. I screwed up, right? And I'm where the stand is. I have these little ones. Literally, it's like 3 of them running around my tree, jumping on each other's backs and pawing at each other and stuff and everything. And I'm just standing there like, well, nothing's happening here. But it was awesome to see.
I was just getting ready to say, I had the time of my life.
Yeah.
Now, if I would have been like a wildlife photographer, I'd have been, you know what I mean? Like, it was so cool to see them in their natural, like, they, not a care in the world, playing. Like, mom wasn't spooked. I knew I must have been doing good with my scent control, you know, because otherwise she'd have had them out of there. But that was so cool. I love seeing that kind of stuff.
So the other thing is that I want to achieve this year is I've really, really fine-tuned I've learned a lot over the last couple of years about cameras and self-filming and stuff. If you haven't done it, it's not as easy as it looks on
challenge.
TV. It is a challenge to do it. It's a lot of work once you're getting up in the tree. I don't care if you're on the ground.
Hunting's hard enough.
Yeah.
And then that's a whole other element of movement and this and that.
Now, I feel like I have a tremendous amount of confidence now as compared to when I started.
If you have the right gear.
I have the right gear. I have a lightweight, camera arm for the tree. I have the right stuff to move the camera around quietly and effectively. I know now that I'm going to, shoot in 4K, and I'm going to keep it wide so I can zoom in later if I have to, not have to worry about trying to zoom in as close as I can on everything during the, when deer come in. So there's a lot of different things that I've learned lessons on with that I want to be able to, to film, effectively, because I've not done it yet.
Yeah.
As much as I want to.
And to be able to capture that memory.
Yeah.
And see your shot placement and there's a lot of to that. Like, what I mean?
Last year I had that 6-point coming in, if you remember, come straight to my tree, and I barely had him in the frame of the camera.
Yeah.
And I was like, I totally screwed this up.
Yeah.
But
like, I get too engulfed. There was moments where I was filming. I was just with a GoPro, but still I was filming. And I got too engulfed in what I was doing and never even, like, I forgot the camera was there.
Yeah.
To sit there and adjust it or whatever. So I think if there's the shoulder mount where you can put it up here. I think I would go that route personally for me. That way it's like kind of wherever I go, it goes type of deal.
So I have a setup with a basically it's a portable tripod, but it also works as basically like a big selfie stick too.
Okay.
Right. And with the GoPro on there, I've been putting it in my backpack right behind me with the camera facing as I'm walking. So it gets basically over my shoulder.
Yeah.
Look.
Well, the GoPro has like a shoulder.
They do have that too.
Yeah.
They have that too. One that you can put on your backpack straps.
Yeah, they have that.
But do you plan on filming at all?
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are you taking out there? Just your GoPro?
Just my that's all I have. So yes, the answer to that is.
So the camera we're filming this on right now.
The issue with the GoPro is how quick the batteries die. So there's like a whole battery change out. There's where you could have it tethered to a bank. You can, but there is problems with the GoPro.
One of the secrets to not having to turn on a camera with the GoPro that I've learned, and not to bore you guys that don't care about it, but one of the things is having it on a power bank and having it on a 5-minute loop, right? If you use the looping feature of your GoPro, basically filming nonstop, but it's only creating 5 1-minute files, right? And those files will all connect to each other. So you put them together. But after it gets through that 5 minutes, it'll delete those and start over again.
Right.
Unless you hit the actual capture button. If you hit the capture button on the, to take a picture or whatever, or to film, it'll save those files and create 5 more basically.
Yes.
Over that 5-minute time period. So that's one of the things I've learned is a great way to continue filming, but have a power bank on it. With the power bank attached to your GoPro, you can continually film and not have to worry about hitting that button when things happen.
I mean, you would think after all these years, GoPro would get better with their batteries.
They're terrible with batteries.
But
what else they're terrible on is remote control. I wish they were much better on remote control.
I agree.
Yeah. So that's one of the things that I hope to do better. And I feel more confident. I guess that's the key word.
Yeah.
Not that I'm, awesome at it or anything like that. I'm just more confident in my capabilities. Basically third year in of kind of doing this.
Yeah.
I have a Canon G50 that we're filming this on right now, a 4K camera that I have. I have a GoPro. I think it's a Hero 9 still that I've been using for a while.
I feel like if I tag out early, it would be cool to go with you
and
film you.
That would be great.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
Yeah. Honest to God, or vice versa. Cool.
Yeah. Either way, if I would tag out, I'm not quitting. I don't want to be out of the woods.
I kind of tinker a little bit with photography as it is. And, I right now we're doing field training of our youngest pointer. And I tell you what, I've captured some really great pictures of her out in the field pointing and stuff. And, it's kind of like a little hobby of mine is photography.
Yeah. So my hope is to chronicle this season and to bring it to you guys.
Bring it to life.
You're on and put it on YouTube. Whether or not that works out the way I want it to or not is yet to be seen. So stay tuned for that.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's definitely a goal.
Yeah.
And I think I lied on the last podcast. I lied.
About?
We were talking about favorites and what I'm using this season.
Yeah.
When people offer something for you to test, sometimes you just got to do it. I think I said that I was going to use the Cruiser Mini Seeker platform as my saddle hunting platform this season.
What happened?
I had gotten that Maverick saddle.
Right.
And Latitude Outdoors, just out of nowhere, came out with a new platform that is very close to that one from Arsenal. It's
really
flat. It's folds down very flat. Yeah. And I couldn't help myself. I had to jump on it. So I'll be testing that platform out this season.
Yeah, because you were like, no, stick with what I know type deal. No, that's hey. You get an opportunity to put something to the test.
Yeah, so I'm excited about that. Have not received that yet. I'm going to get some stuff from Ozio here. Ozio just came out with a puffy, and kind of reminds me of the Jetstream jacket, a soft shell hoodie. That windproof kind of mid-season type hoodie or jacket. That reminds me of the Sika's Jetstream jacket.
Okay.
Or the First Light Whitetail Catalyst jacket, kind of along those lines. So I'm anxious to see that. They're going to be sending that to me here anytime now.
Did you get all your clothes treated yet? Permethrin?
I'm Mr. Permethrin.
Okay. I spent my entire weekend, except for when we were at the family reunion, of course, but I got finally all my clothes are washed. Everything's organized in early, mid, late. Everything is with a pretty liberal coating of permethrin on. We're 3 weeks away. So it's
I still have a travesty down here.
Yeah.
I've been doing a bunch of video stuff and everything. So I have a bunch of stuff around here. I have way too much stuff.
So I went into my bag where I put my hunting clothes, my scent elimination bag. I go in there and I'm kind of digging around. And I feel something hard. Did you ever make a purchase on something and you don't need it right now, and then you totally forgot you bought it?
Yes,
dude. I have 3 packs of broadheads. My fixed of the Magnus, the Black Hornets, 125s.
Yeah,
I got freaking 3 packs of those bad boys, and I'm like, I must have been really angry at the end of last season, dude. Because I was flinging arrows at deer
and keep buying broadheads.
So I was like, I'm going into this season with a full arsenal. I think it's funny as hell. I was like, was I drunk and bought these, or no? It was I was pissed off and bought them. That's what it was.
Oh my god,
came down to. Yeah,
that's hilarious. Another thing, I actually just shot a video about what I can say. I've tested a lot of early season hoodies, right?
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, I got all these early season hoodies. Which one's the best one? Which one I like the best? Whatever. But that's not the point. The point is, by the time October 5th runs around, the way this weather's been, I might not be wearing.
It might be a mid-season already.
Might be in the mid-season weather already. I'm very curious because last year we were boiling into October. If you remember, it was hot.
Well, this season I spent more on early season gear because the last few seasons, I was sweating myself out because all I really had was more mid stuff. I mean, my old scent lock stuff, but I'm trying to like, you know what I mean? Like you have all this new hunting clothes and stuff, you want to wear it. But so, you know, I bought some of the Huntworth stuff to get early season stuff. So I hope we get at least one weekend that I can wear it. You know, you spend all that money on stuff and you only get to wear it a couple weeks a year. It's kind of
There's a question
sucks.
for you.
Yeah.
So I had on, and this is out of the blue here, no plan thing, but on YouTube I had a guy ask me. I've actually had a couple people ask about that. You know, the Stratus versus the Elkins stuff, right? But
Okay.
you have the Stratus bibs,
right.
And you don't have the Elkins, but you have the next higher tier up. You have the Saskatoon.
I do have the Elkins vest.
You have the Elkins vest, but
Right.
but you have the courtesy of me, and but you have the Saskatoon jacket and pants,
Yep.
but you also have the Stratus bibs,
Right.
What is, because you wear the old Equinox
Equinox hoodie.
Equinox hoodie,
Not the guard hoodie. The
not the
regular.
guard hoodie,
Yeah.
the heavy one.
I love that. The Equinox hoodie, dude, that thing, and I pair that with my Stratus bibs. That's it right there. That's my mid to going into late season.
So okay, that's the question though. So I had a few people ask me this recently. So if you're one of them, see what Dan has to say about this compared to what I said about
Okay.
it. So you love the Stratus bibs. Okay. You also love the Saskatoon stuff.
Yes.
If you had, you know, even if you had $700 and you could buy the Stratus bibs and Stratus jacket, or you could buy the other and it didn't make a difference, how would you approach that? How do you feel about it?
I would buy the Sitka because it fits different. It fits better. If it was free.
Yeah.
If I was spending the money, it's not even up for debate. It's Huntworth. It would be, the Elkins line. I would definitely, you know.
Or Saskatoon.
Well, I
Or
already
the
have
Elkins.
this. The Elkins is closer to
The Stratus.
So
It's
if we're-
identical to the Stratus.
if we're going there, then I would go with the Elkins.
If you haven't seen that, the Elkins, Huntworth Elkins and the Sitka Stratus, feature-wise, identical.
Like we've talked about this, and you know me, I'm like a fanboy when it comes to Huntworth, and it's because of the price. But I'm a Sitka guy. Mustard kind of got me in you gotta buy this. You gotta, he kind of got me into the Sitka, and I was just like, why would I spend this kind of money? Okay, go put the stuff on.
Yeah.
You will see what I mean. Just the way, like, lift up your arm here. The way it fits up in here, up in your armpit, the way it comes around your waist.
Let it cut. Yeah.
So when you go to draw, there is no bag. There's no bunch up. Like in the Huntworth, when I go to draw, it pushes up on me and it kind of puffs up right here.
Yeah, that's good to know.
You know what I mean? It puffs up right there. Well, that's where you're going to be releasing and stuff, and your string's going to go flying. It's going to.
Yep.
So there's that. The Sitka would never do that.
You know-
and I'm sure
do you know-
First Light's the same way.
When I talked to the Huntworth rep, I think his name's Nate Sellers. He has my God, I can't think of his channel. But anyway, he has his own channel. It's something ACA or something like that. It doesn't matter. But anyway, Nate Sellers is a big Huntworth rep.
Yeah.
And I talked to Nate, and Nate said, "Hey, I'm going to send you this Elkins stuff. Right?
It's great.
Right, I'm going to send you Elkins stuff. What size do you wear?" And I said, "Well, I wear large," but I told him I'm 5'8", 190 pounds basically. And he said, "You know what? I think you need to get a medium." So he sent me a medium jacket instead. And because of that issue, he knew that it was possible that medium would fit me more like the Stratus large would fit me. And he was 100% right.
In Sitka, I'm an extra large. In Huntworth, I'm a large. Huntworth runs big.
Yes.
That's
the
very,
thing.
very much
That's the
does.
thing I think I needed to mention more in my reviews.
Yeah,
Yes,
like how things run.
It is a little bit. I have a large Saskatoon jacket, and it does bunch a little bit on me, but it doesn't bother me.
And it bunches only because too is them up here pockets.
Yeah.
So that gives you that when you're getting that motion. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's.
I haven't had.
I love where them pockets are at, but it can be an issue. Yeah.
Yeah. So it is. We go back to the original question because of the way Sitka's fit as compared to Huntworth's value. It's a value proposition versus, okay,
If it's my money, it's Huntworth.
yeah, if you're trying to save money and get the same feature set, but you're willing to sacrifice the fit,
Yeah.
then
Huntworth.
Huntworth, and the fit's not terrible. I mean, we love wearing it. So
That freaking disruption camo is badass. Like I don't even care.
I think it's
love
the
it.
perfect fall camo
For
honestly.
where we hunt. It is. It's
that and First Light Spectre is excellent for that time frame too. I think.
yeah,
Really
dude,
good.
I love First Light Spectre. That's
it's great.
It's
for
cool
that.
camo. Yeah.
Well, Dan, we knocked down a bunch of stuff here.
Next time we talk to you, we're gonna be like, you know,
We're on the beat.
we're gonna be that excited.
We're gonna be on the verge of it because we do 2 weeks from now. We do every 2 weeks on this.
We'll be 1 week.
We'll be right there on the verge of. We'll be releasing the podcast basically as we're getting ready to head up to the woods.
And I'm going up actually Thursday nights or after work.
So, and what we did last year, the second weekend, we actually recorded the podcast up in the camp.
That was opening weekend.
It was opening weekend.
Yeah, we did it, and we could do that again.
We'll have to see what kind of time we have.
Yes.
Yeah, if deer are taken down, the chances of a podcast being recorded at camp are slim to none. Or if we do one, it will be a lot of we'll be a lot happier
Yeah.
because of the glass that he just held up.
We'll be all giggly and well, excuse my French, but I got a line when it comes. We'll be all wahoo and shit. So
Well, for that, we'll put a bow on it.
Yeah, amen.
So once again, I'm Mike. This is Dan and the Everyday Bow Hunter podcast, and we'll see you next time.
thank you.
Hey, this is Mike once again. I hope you enjoyed the podcast. If you want even more content from the Everyday Bow Hunter, I invite you to go over to everydaybowhunter.com or archeryhunting.com. It's the same website for the Everyday Bow Hunter. In addition, if you haven't subscribed, go to our YouTube channel. We have a lot more than the podcast there. Got more video coming every day, a lot more content. In addition, if you go over on your podcast channels, or you're already there, whether it's Spotify, Apple Podcasts, whatever, please give us a 5-star review. Give us a follow. We really appreciate it. In addition, if you see an Everyday Bow Hunter shirt like this, go ahead, go to the website, go to YouTube, click on it, buy one of our shirts. Every little bit helps. We're not sponsored by anybody. In addition, in our descriptions and our show notes, we highlight products that we use and buy that we love. Now, every time you click on one of those links, we get a small commission. It really helps us out. Like I said, we're not sponsored by anyone. You're our sponsor. So with your support, we can make this channel even better. I appreciate it. And until then, I will see you next time.